Hello and welcome to this month's video blog. Today we're going to take some time to talk about installation of our heat line heating cables on an external pipe application. All heat line brand heating cables employ our patented self-regulating heating cable technology, which means they can be safely applied to all pipe types, whether the pipe is wet or dry, and can be fully insulated without fear of overheating. Today, we're going to look at 3 applications in which we're applying our self-regulating heating cables to the outside of a pipe. So I have with me today our Paladin, which is an extremely versatile cable. The Paladin can be applied in multiple applications. I've got a 1-inch poly pipe, which is going to help simulate a typical water line application. I've got our length of PEX pipe, 3-inch ABS, and then we've got some additional accessories for applying the heating cable to the pipe. We've got our extreme foil tape, fiberglass tape, insulation, and some cable ties. So we're going to talk about each individually. So here we have our 1-inch poly pipe. This is going to simulate a typical water line application. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take our extreme foil tape and we're going to apply that to the pipe. This is going to help with heat transfer. So we're just going to apply that like that all along the length of the pipe. Once we have our tape installed on our pipe, we're going to take our Paladin heating cable. We're going to apply that directly over top of the tape. Now we want to ensure that we're not installing the cable at the very bottom of the pipe, because if this pipe is ever buried and there's any pressure applied to it, the heating cable can be pinched. So we want to install at the 4 o'clock or the 8 o'clock position. Now once we have the cable in place, we can take an additional roll of the foil tape and we're going to apply that directly over top of the cable. Now in this example, I'm not going to actually adhere this to the cable. It is a permanent solution, so once it's applied, it's not going to come off. It's designed for longevity. So I'm going to just place it over top. Now, if you happen to have excess cable in your installation, you can always just loop the cable back on itself. And you can come back at the opposite position, so the 4 o'clock or the 8 o'clock position, and install your excess cable there, or wrap it around any additional fittings that may be in your application. Okay, so once you've got your cable adhered to your pipe, we're going to take our insulation and we're going to directly apply that. And the insulation is going to help with thermal consistency. It prevents heat loss and it helps to ensure that you have the most energy efficient freeze protection on your pipe. For our second application, we're going to use our 3-inch ABS pipe. This is going to simulate a drainage line or a sanitary waste line. Now for this application, again, we're going to use our extreme foil tape, which we are going to apply to the pipe. Once we have our tape applied to our pipe, we're going to take our Paladin cable again. We're going to apply that directly on the pipe. Because this is a larger diameter pipe, we're going to make 2 runs. So we're going to run down at the 4 o'clock position, loop it around, and then come back to the 8 o'clock position. And then once we have the cable in place, we're going to take our fiberglass tape and we are going to use that to adhere our cable to our pipe. Now you can also use your cable ties in this instance. However, for this diameter pipe, you are going to need a much larger cable tie, which are available through Heatline as well. And again, in this instance, because we are dealing with a plastic pipe, not a metallic pipe, we're going to take our extreme foil tape and apply that again over top of the heating cable. So then we're going to take our insulation and we are going to apply that to our pipe. And once we have our insulation applied, we have an energy efficient freeze protected drain system. And for our last application today, we're going to use our 1/2-inch PEX lines. This is going to simulate a water line, typically found underneath a cottage, for example, carrying your hot and cold water. Because they are small diameter pipes, freeze protection can often be difficult. So what we're going to do in this instance is we've got typically these lines will run parallel to each other. So what we're going to do in this instance is we can actually use one heating cable to protect both pipes. So we're going to take our Paladin heating cable and we're going to sandwich that in between our two lines. We can then take our supplied cable tie and we're going to sandwich those two together around the heating cable, just like that. And again, we want to be sure not to over tighten. So we're going to make that just snug enough. You can cut off the excess cable or wrap it around your pipe. Then we're going to take our 1-inch insulation again, and we're actually going to install that directly in our insulation here. And then once we have that done, you have a fully freeze protected water line. We hope you found this video blog helpful. We will continue to release a new video blog monthly, so be sure to stay up to date by signing up for our email newsletter, subscribing to our YouTube channel, following us on Facebook and other social media pages. Thank you for watching.